Thank you everybody for tuning in. We are officially clocked in, and in this video I wanted to give you guys an update on the Corey Jenkins case that's going on right now in Rankin County, Mississippi. And I just want to start off by saying I'm so sorry if I sound weird. I am getting over a cold. But I'm going to try to push through this video so that I can give you guys an update, because in the comments of my last video, there are a lot of people who had a lot of concerns and questions and doubts in terms of the validity of this story, because it is a story that seems pretty far-fetched, or like a pretty wild story in terms of details. But I do want to reassure everyone that this is a very real case, and this is something that has actually happened, and it is affecting a young man and his family's life right now. So I do have some updates on that, as well as I'll be answering a lot of the questions that I saw come up pretty regularly in my previous comment section about the story. So a lot of people did have questions about why wasn't Michael's mother allowed to see him in the hospital. And so there was a video that was made by someone who knew the family, and his mother, her name is Mary Jenkins. She was outside of the hospital, actually outside of the hospital, not just outside of his room door, but completely outside of the hospital. And in the video, someone asked her, are they allowing you to see your son, or what's going on with that situation? And she informed them that the officers are guarding him, they're not allowing her to see him, and all of these things. And she just goes on to explain that situation. So that video was taken around the time where this incident first occurred. And since then, Michael's mother has been able to see Michael, I think about a week or so ago. So she was able to go into his hospital room and see Michael. I believe at the time he wasn't able to verbally communicate with her, so he was communicating by writing things down, but she was able to see him. Now, the reason why the family was not able to see Michael in the hospital is because Michael had been charged with assault of a police officer, I believe, at the time. So technically he was property of the state, and no one was allowed to just openly go and visit him in the hospital because he was in police custody, technically, even though he was still in the hospital. Now, there was a representative or a family member, I believe, who was speaking about this in another video, and she was asked how they were able to get his mother to be able to see him, and the family had to go and see a bail bondsman, again, because Michael had been charged, so they had to go and see a bail bondsman and pay on his bail in order for his family to be able to see him. And even when they did see him, there was still an officer who was standing outside of his hospital room when the family was allowed to go and visit Michael. I know that another question that a lot of people were asking was in reference to the eyewitness who kind of told the family what happened and all of these things. So there wasn't any video by this eyewitness, because the eyewitness who told Michael's father and his family what happened to Michael was also tortured by these police officers, and this happened inside of a home. Now, the police busted into the home where Michael Jenkins and his friend Eddie Terrell Parker both were, and they did not come in with a warrant because they said that it was a drug bust. Now, they accused, it was six white officers who had accused Michael and Terrell, I believe that he goes by his middle name. So they accused Michael and Terrell of dating white women and selling drugs, and they entered the home without a warrant because it was supposed to be a drug bust. There were some additional details in terms of the torture that Michael went through that wasn't presented before that I have now. So when the police entered the home where Michael and Terrell were, both men were immediately handcuffed by the police, and both men endured the torture of being beaten and tased as well. But they were actually waterboarded by these police officers with milk. So both of them were being waterboarded with milk by the police officers, and the police officers apparently got eggs and were throwing them at both Michael and Terrell. Now, these police officers were holding guns to both Terrell and Michael's heads repeatedly and were threatening to shoot the both of them. And like I mentioned in my other video, the police were going back and forth tasing Michael to see whose taser would make him pass out first. Now, it's said that Michael did actually pass out from being tased, and the officer who shot him did it so that he could wake up Michael, or like once he shot Michael in the mouth, it shocked him and woke him up from having been passed out from being tased. When Michael was shot in the mouth, his tongue had been almost completely severed, but when he was taken to the hospital, they were able to sew his tongue back together. So he didn't lose his tongue from this, but because of all the torture and everything that happened, Michael did swallow a lot of his own blood. So he is having some complications because of the amount of blood that he swallowed from his injuries. Now, there is a part of this story from my original video that I do want to clarify, because the information was clarified for me as to what actually happened in terms of the essay that was reported about Michael. So Michael was not completely SA'd, but there was an attempt by these officers to SA him in the home while they were torturing him, and they were using one of their weapons in order to do that. They were not successful in their attempt, but they were trying to assault him in that way while they were torturing him. And now I know that there still isn't a whole lot of press surrounding Michael's story, but again, this story is factual. It did actually happen, and there are a lot of people who are on the ground trying to help Michael and his family get justice. There was a report on News One, and Roland Martin also commented under Malik Zulu Shabazz's video about the press conference that he was going to hold about Michael, saying that he did actually report on this story and he had Michael's family on as well. There's also a video here on YouTube over on the Pascal Show's channel where he talks about Michael's story, and he goes through a lot of different evidence, basically proving that Michael's story is real. He himself has reached out to a lot of different sources that he personally has, a lot of different people that he has connections with who are in the area, just to kind of confirm what's going on with Michael, because, you know, he had his doubts as well. And with him being a pretty reputable source for many of his followers, he went through great lengths in order to prove that this is in fact a true story that is going on. And someone who he knows recorded a conversation that they were having where they called the Rankin County Sheriff's Office, and the Rankin County's office did confirm that they indeed had an inmate named Michael Corey Jenkins, and he had been in the hospital. And also, for those of you who are asking about why hadn't the family reached out to any civil rights attorneys like Benjamin Crump, or, you know, like people like Al Sharpton and all these things, the family did. They did reach out to Benjamin Crump, and because Benjamin Crump has a lot of other things going on right now, he said that he sent someone on his team to go and help the family, and that person is Malik Zulu Shabazz. So he has been in contact with the family, you know, getting the story and putting together a press conference, and he is currently representing the family and all of these things. And I believe Benjamin Crump will eventually come onto the case as well and help the family too. But they did reach out. They do have some attorneys with, you know, like some big names and some pull when it comes to civil rights issues and things of that sort, who are helping them. So like I said before, you guys can check out the Pascal show on YouTube and see his video. He has a really lengthy video with a lot of different sources that he has pulled together in order to prove that this story is real. And, you know, there are some other, you know, pretty reputable sources that also have been reporting on Michael's story. But I really, really appreciate everyone who has been sharing my video on Michael, who has been spreading the word about him and what happened to him, and who has been sending their thoughts and their prayers, and who also have been donating to help support him and his family through this very, very difficult time that I know that they're going through. Michael has been doing a lot better. He is still in the hospital. If I'm not mistaken, I think they said that his mouth is wired shut because of the gunshot wound that he sustained from being shot in the mouth. But he is communicating. He is in better spirits, it seems, now that he's been able to see his family and speak to them. I think he may feel a little bit safer, being as though he's able to see his family and they can visit him. But yeah, so those are the updates on Michael's conditions. Continue to spread his story, because this story definitely has like a long way to go. There is a long road for recovery for Michael, but it does look like, you know, he's on the upside of everything, which we're so grateful for. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for sharing this story. I will keep you guys updated. And yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys, and we are officially clocked out. Bye.